Welcome to Building Solid Foundations Radio. I am your host, Steve Matley. We are on KCAA 1050 AM 102.3 FM and 106.5 FM, or catch us on your streaming on Roku, Fire TV, or the Android app, Building Solid Foundations channel, or on any one of probably your favorite podcast platform. We're on over 15 of them. Check us out every week. All kinds of different topics that we cover. And today I've got a very special guest in the studio today. You may have heard of him. If you haven't, then you need to get out a little bit more because he's known pretty well everywhere, even if you're not a football fan. My guest today in the studio is Wes Chandler. He is the founder and president of WCTE, which was launched in 2019. It's a biopharmaceutical market company focused on CTE and traumatic brain injury. If you don't know what CTE is, you need to watch the Will Smith movie, Concussion. It'll explain that to you. It's the brain issues that football players, boxers, hockey players, anybody that gets a lot of jolts to the head, they tend to suffer with that. Also, military veterans with PTSD will suffer from that. Wes was in the NFL. He was third overall pick in the 1978 draft by the New Orleans Saints, four-time Pro Bowler, an all-pro performer, 11 seasons total in the NFL as a player. He also did coaching positions at University of Central Florida, Cal Berkeley, the NFL Europe, and he actually did head coaching for the Berlin Thunder of the European League. And he has been on the coaching staff for the Cowboys, Vikings, Browns. He's in the Chargers Hall of Fame. He was inducted in 2001. SEC Hall of Fame 2013, and the College Football Hall of Fame. He was inducted in 2015. His actually holds the NFL record for the average yards per season for a wide receiver at 129.7 yards. And he's been a player rep for the Saints, Chargers, 49ers, and on the executive committee for 9 years. He has also served as president of Major League Football, which is a league that is really in between college football and the NFL. It works as a transitioning, tutorial, and training league. It's a developmental pipeline. And his passion is philanthropy and helping people, which is why he started CTE. He's helping a lot of people out there. Full disclosure, I am actually an investor in CTE, so I want to put that out there. So it's not like it's a new thing. I am actually promoting the man who owns the company that I'm invested in, but I believe in it. And the reason I invested is when I told the person that brought it to me, I told her, I said, I don't know if this company will go or not. I don't know much about it, but for what they're doing, even if it doesn't go, I feel like this is contributing to something that's helping people. And I would look at it, if I never got the money back, it would be like a donation and to do something very good for people, like donating to the Heart Association or something like that. Having said that, I have 100% full faith that it's going places. I think it's growing, it's building, and it is helping people what they're doing. So Wes, welcome to the show. Really happy to have you here, and I hope that wasn't too long an introduction for you.
No, thank you so much, Steve. It's a pleasure to be here with you as well.
So I want to talk a little bit about. I know people out there may want to talk about your football glory stories and those things, which are fascinating. And I've watched clips on ESPN and those things. And I believe you were playing with the Chargers when I was watching that back then. You finished your career with the Chargers, is that correct?
49ers.
The 49ers where you
Yes.
finished. Okay, you did a stint with the Chargers, though, right?
Yes.
Okay, I remember that. All right, so, and originally out of University of Florida.
Florida,
is that right?
yes.
Florida Gator, okay. But what we're going to focus on is talking about the WCTE and why you founded the company. What prompted that?
What prompted my reasons of finding a reason for helping not just myself, but players who have suffered from repetitive head trauma. I woke up one day back in 2013. I had just signed on to be one of the lead plaintiffs in NFL's concussion lawsuit, and I could no longer write my name. Out of the blue, I was doing a medallion signature at a bank, and it just happened. And I thought maybe my hand just went to sleep, or just something that would pass within the hour. That never happened. Months went by, and still same result. And I found myself trying to do business with the opposite hand daily. I had lost my penmanship, and that was something that plagued me mentally. And at the same time, I was coming down here to the San Diego area because the business was launched here. CBD company that I had, trying to find other avenues and ways to service former athletes who were suffering from head trauma. And I thought at that time that my personal discovery that I had an issue would go away. It never did. I went to neurologist. I went all over San Diego County trying to find out what was wrong. And then finally, my personal physician finally said, I want to sit down and tell you the truth. And he said, you have Parkinson's tremors. I didn't hear the word tremors. I just heard the word Parkinson's. And from that moment on, I went into this depressed state. Something that, as this concussion lawsuit was going along, was also standing out. Depression as one of the characteristics, mood swings, memory loss, sporadic behavior. All of these things were now telltale signs in my life, but I also realized that I had former teammates that I knew, and everyone that, when the movie Concussion came out, were friends of mine, and I knew what had happened to them. So I fast forward and found myself in a situation where I did not care about my life anymore. And by the grace of God, I woke up one morning and it was a new awakening for me because I have one son and a grandson. And that became my new motivation to find a new avenue to do something to help not just myself, but others that I know that were suffering from some of the same ailments that I had suffered from.
Okay, and there's several widely publicized cases of former NFL players that either died prematurely or took their own lives. Junior Seau here in San Diego was a big story, still is talked about. Is that been your experience with some of the people that it got that serious?
2 weeks before that unfortunate call I got regarding Junior, we played golf.
Okay.
I was recruiting. I was at Cal Berkeley at the time, and I was coaching at Cal, and Keenan Allen happened to be one of the players I was coaching there. And so San Diego County was my recruiting area, and so he had a godson by the name of Joe Pow playing at Oceanside High. Right. And I was down visiting and recruiting Joe Pow Jr. To see if there was a fit for him to play at the University of California, Berkeley. And I had the pleasure of just seeing my good friend, and unfortunately it was for the last time. Yeah. So it's moments like that, and having played in the Pro Bowl with Dave Durson, against Dave Durson, having served on the executive committee representing the players with Dave Durson, to know that he took his life, and Wes Hopkins also from the Philadelphia Eagles. Those are the moments that made me realize that there was something greater than myself, and I needed to find a way to help other individuals, and not just football. Football happens to get the greatest attention because players are dying.
Right.
But military, concussion, when we talk about TBI, traumatic brain injury, concussion is the most common. But our veterans suffer from PTSD in the military, and it's not that they've been in direct action. It's concussive forces of bombs going off close to them. Is a direct correlation to repetitive head trauma in football. It happens in soccer and boxing. It's called punch drunk syndrome.
Right. That's Muhammad Ali.
Yes, an idol of mine who also passed away from Parkinson's disease. So I just realized that there was a greater cause. And every morning since that time, I realized that I had lost my penmanship. My greatest motivating force were the other individuals. And we're trying to so diligently utilize the platform of professional athletes to get others to step forward to say that they realize that they need help as well and to step forward. Because if a professional athlete can be that model to say it's okay to say that you need to help, please seek it.
All right. Okay. And as you said, it goes well beyond football and even well beyond sports. There's auto accident victims that out there that have injuries. I think the reason the football probably took front and center, you did mention there were some highly publicized deaths and suicides and those things, but also their response to it. The protecting the business model. The business model. Egregious.
Yes.
And I think that grabbed a lot of attention of people and woke some people up. Their complete, abdication of responsibility.
And still to this day, actually, where the denial of so many individuals who are seeking medical assistance and medical help from a financial respect as it relates to these concussion issues, you come to find out that they have been denied or turned away. And that does not sit well with the masses because there are only 1,800 players that play this game every fall. There are about 26,000 that are retired that have played the game.
Yeah. We're gonna have to take a short break. When we come back, I want to pick this up where we are now and trying to get into not just this, but also into what WCTE is doing to help remedy the problem. This is Building Solid Foundations. My guest today is Wes Chandler. He is the founder and the president of WCTE, which provides help to anybody really that is dealing with traumatic brain injury or CTE. I'm your host, Steve Matley. We'll be right back after this short break.
Fire Up Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. Fire Up Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. Fire Up Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
Real Men of Real Estate.
Men of Real Estate radio show here on KCAA.
Boats, mortgages can be purchased.
All of us want to live in thriving communities.
Basically, go to the radio station, kcaaradio.com.
You can find us on your dial at 102.3 FM, 1050 AM, as well as 106.5 FM.
This is Steve Matley. Join me every Thursday at 3 p.m. right here on KCAA for Building Solid Foundations radio talk show. I spent decades as a professional construction manager, business owner, real estate developer, and a college educator, and I enjoy learning new things from other people. We talk a lot about real estate, business, and finance, but we cover a diverse range of other topics as well. Some of the topics we've discussed in the past few months include real estate investing, leadership, higher education, ADUs, marketing using technology, multifamily rental properties, business strategy, entrepreneurship. You never know who may show up or what they may talk about, so join us right here on KCAA for Building Solid Foundations Radio. Hi, this is Steve Matley. As a construction professional, I know the importance of selecting the right contractor for the job. Power Solar employs only professional installers. Power Solar will provide a knowledgeable consultant to help analyze your current electric bill, identify site placement, and correct solar technology for your home. Contact kcaaproducer@gmail.com for a free financial savings proposal with no obligation, or call 951-551-1350 and ask for Ken. Again, that's kcaaproducer@gmail.com or 951-551-1350 and ask for Ken. Welcome back to Building Solid Foundations Radio. I'm your host, Steve Matley. We are today with our special guest, Wes Chandler. We're talking about traumatic brain injury, CTE, that's suffered by football players, hockey players, soccer players, boxers, accident victims, military veterans, and what he and his company are doing to help remedy that. And before the break, Wes, we were talking a little bit about kind of the NFL's response or lack thereof. And I think about all the different laws we have on the books that we enforce against industrial employers, agriculture employers, offices for their employees that over a lifetime end up with some kind of injury or a poisoning or carpal tunnel or physical injuries, knees for a lot of construction workers. And those companies have to contribute to helping. And here we have arguably probably the most profitable employer in the country who has a product that is not just profitable and popular, but it causes a pretty prolific long-term injuries to the employees that are working in it, and and for some reason they feel they don't have any responsibility for that.
Well, this is something that when everyone's dream is to most young men is when they wake up, if it's in the world of athletics, is to become a professional athlete, right? But you don't realize the end result.
There's a price.
There's a price to be paid. Yet, to me, when I look back at my career, would I have played the game over due to all the injuries? Of course. Now, when it comes to the business aspect, yes, you can file for workers' compensation, which is common, in the business world, but that's just the basic part of it. But when we start getting into brain injuries and things of that nature where it can become detrimental, now that's a different story.
Well, I look at that as almost like the mesothelioma that came out of the asbestos, the industrial workers that were exposed to it over a long period of time.
Over a long period of time.
That's right.
You're correct in that aspect. And so for me to see such denial that this did not happen in the workplace, to me was really asinine, to know that these players have given everything that they've had. Yes, they had a lifestyle, but by the same token, they put their lives on the line because this is a real gladiator sport. Like it or not, this is, you pay a tremendous price every Sunday. And I can recall some of the times that I was hit, the blindsided hits. These are car wrecks, at full tilt, and the impact.
You're getting hit by a 300-pound a block of a man. And
it takes its toll. And there were some Sunday nights when I went home and I questioned, how long can you play this at this level and at this pace? But we played for the love of the game, not so much the financial rewards of the game, because it was different back then versus what it is today.
Right, and I think by the time you get to the NFL, you've been through probably youth football, and you've been through high school football, and then you've been through college football. And so you come in already banged up quite a bit before you even start with the NFL. The NFL just ramps it up to a much higher level. It's heavier weights, harder hits, faster speeds.
Most definitely, and to your point with that. The repetitive head trauma doesn't start when you become a professional athlete. It has been happening ever since Pop Warner. And a lot of times people don't realize that the kids, even today, when they start playing Pop Warner football, they're getting hit. And the problem with that is the proper teaching of how to tackle.
That's right. And not leading with your head.
And not leading with
your head. I see a lot of I used to officiate football for high schools, and the Pop Warners are part of what you do. And I'd see a lot of kids, they use the helmet as the weapon, and they didn't understand.
The helmet has always been the primary weapon.
And the problem with that is that your neck is what's supporting that. And your neck is not as strong as that helmet, and you're likely to snap something if you're not careful. And even though you have the helmet, you're still taking the shock.
You're still taking the shock, and people say, well, things are changing and they're doing things about it. Well, you can change the equipment and you can change the rules. But two things. The helmet, it does not matter because the brain sits in liquid. It's not stationary.
And it's getting rocked around in there.
It's going to get rocked around regardless of what helmet you wear. The rules, you can change it, but guess what? You can't play the game without the ball being snapped or kicked. And every time that happens, that's a green light for one or two things to happen. You're going to either be hit or someone's going to hit you.
Well, they say it's a contact sport. It's really a collision sport.
It's a collision sport.
Basketball's a contact sport, even though they say it's not. But football's a collision sport.
It's a high collision
as
sport.
is hockey.
Yes.
As is soccer can be. It's not as much so, but soccer can be.
Yes.
There's lacrosse can be that way. There are people getting smacked out there.
Yeah, gymnastics. You can fall off a hobby horse, the balance beam.
Oh yeah, and on your head. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. And even though if you don't hit your head when you come down, there's still that sudden stop that's going to rattle.
That's right.
Rattle everything around. It seems there's the things that entertain us seem to be things that cause damage to people. I don't know why we're like that as humans. That seems to be, that's, like I said, gladiator type stuff. We've always enjoyed it.
We cheer for the sound of the hit and the violence of it.
Yeah, boxing, UFC.
Yes,
feet to the face. Yeah,
we like the end result when it's more violent. When a player.
Well, I think we like the severe competition.
Yes.
We like the idea of a victor that had to really sacrifice a lot to get there.
That's true.
There's hit, there's bruising, there's blood, and then that, I think, speaks to whatever's in us that likes to cheer on the victor and the champion.
The thing that I was told years ago, that there was one thing that was common throughout the world, and that's that everyone loves a winner.
Yeah.
But there's a price to be paid.
And everybody loves a winner, but we don't love our Jeopardy champion as much as we love our NFL MVP, right? For whatever reason.
That's very true. That's very true. But I look at it and I say to myself, I look at my alumni brothers today, where there's about 26,000, and with over 90% of these individuals haven't filed for in this grievance for concussion. But it's more than that. And I think that when a lot of people saw that there was a concussion lawsuit, they did not understand the in-depth detail. It's not if you had a concussion, it's the epidemics from the repetitive head trauma, like Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, CTE, ALS, and dementia.
Yeah, the concussion heals because that's the damage to the skull.
Yes.
And so that heals, but the long-term damage is what happened internally, and that triggers lifetime issues.
Yes.
And it triggers things that affect your quality of your life as you get older.
It affects the quality of life, and so as a part of our due diligence, we know that we're looking for a way to address the long-term effects, but quality of life, the short term, is how about these individuals who need help now, who are borderline, that may have not crossed the line of having CTE or Alzheimer's or Parkinson's? What about those who are young kids who are 14 plus that are getting ready to get into the world of contact sport of any sort, or male or female? So we have a preventative, we prevent, identify, and treat. And so as part of that, we're trying to also make parents aware that we are working on preventative measures, and that there are opportunities for quality of life for those individuals who are really, really suffering, because it's more than just brain. It's chronic pain, lower back stress.
It's the joints and
the joints. It's
back
chronic pain, yeah. Regenerative medicine is one of the things that we're looking at. We have a partnership with a company directly for that. We have a partnership for brain health. We also have a partnership for behavior and mental health, because in many cases, a lot of players don't know how to leave the game, right? or they have issues while they're playing the game. And this is why you read all of these late night horror stories about athletes who are involved in domestic violence and other things of that nature.
Right, and that makes big news, and of course, the general public doesn't link those things together. They look and they say, okay, he's a monster, or he's got major behavioral issues. You know, what's wrong with him? He's making all this money. He's acting like an idiot because he's out there. He thinks he's better than everybody else, and he doesn't, or just being a bully. And there's no connection to how does this relate to what this guy's been doing week
Correct.
after week after week, and how's that affecting the brain, which then affects the decisions and the behaviors.
That's correct. That's correct. It's not normal. And even on the collegiate level now, it's getting more so where behavior and mental health are affecting the student athlete, the balance of being a student and an athlete, the stigma of having to handle these pressures of playing at that level, because now college sports is big business. When you
and
play
getting bigger with the recent rulings, yes.
Yes, and even bigger, because when you go to these postseason bowl games, it means money for the universities.
The TV
right?
contracts.
Major in the TV contracts that are involved. So therefore, the player now, or the athlete now, has to learn how to balance. And they may be suffering from mental health problems, but are too afraid because of the peer pressure at that level.
Right.
To let someone know that I do need help.
Nobody wants to say I'm crazy, I need help.
No one does.
We're going to take another break. We're going to come back and we're going to get into specifically what WCTE does and how they're helping to solve the problem and prevent. This is Steve Matley on Building Solid Foundations, and we are talking to Wes Chandler. We'll be right back after this.
Fire Up Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. Fire Up Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services, including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing, and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. Fire Up Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
Hi, this is Steve Matley. As a construction professional, I know the importance of selecting the right contractor for the job. Power Solar employs only professional installers. Power Solar will provide a knowledgeable consultant to help analyze your current electric bill, identify site placement, and correct solar technology for your home. Contact KCAA Producer at gmail.com for a free financial savings proposal with no obligation, or call 951-551-1350 and ask for Ken. Again, that's KCAA Producer at gmail.com or 951-551-1350 and ask for Ken. Welcome back to Building Solid Foundations. This is your host, Steve Matley. We are with Wes Chandler, the NFL great, in the studio today, and he is president and founder of WCTE. And the last couple of segments, we kind of laid out some of the problems with what is an issue with not just football players, but anybody that's dealt with traumatic brain injury, including military veterans, other athletes, or even auto accident victims, and some of the long-term problems. So, Wes, let's talk about a little about what WCTE is doing. We talked about why you started it. Let's talk about what it's doing and how it's addressing the problem.
The first thing that we did was brought on scientists who could look at the long term, and that's from an R&D perspective, be it stem cell to treat the brain. And we also knew that you have two sets of individuals, be it in the world of athletics or be it just the average everyday person. There are those who are yet to get deeply into these epidemics in our society, like having Alzheimer's or having dementia. All right, they're borderline. Then there are those who already have it. right? So you have to look at the address like I do. I know that I have teammates and I have comrades that are already dealing with Alzheimer's. They're already dealing with dementia and Parkinson's. And so their quality of life is not like the normal average everyday person. To get up every morning, to get out and get some sunlight in your eyes by 9 a.m., it's not that easy for them because
They're not sure who they are, where they are, or what they're
correct,
doing. Right.
correct. So, and that's not quality of life to play with the grandkids, to take a walk with the spouse or the girlfriend. That not being able to do that is not quality of life. So the long-term effect, as far as our scientists are concerned, is to find a way to find a reversal or a cure to deal with the epidemic. In the short term, we've partnered with 3 different partnerships from a behavior and mental health perspective, from a brain perspective, and from a regenerative perspective, where chronic pain is involved. And so they can get treatment from either one of those 3 right now to help them with quality of life. They can speak with a psychologist. They can go and get a EEG assessment of their brain and get TMS treatment to help them get their brain back to a maximum operating position, right? The alpha state, we call it, where your neurons are functioning at its best, to think clearly, to make rational decisions, to get rest, not to have as much anxiety throughout your day. These are opportunities that we provide for them right now. And a lot of athletes have started to adhere to the fact that it's okay to say that I need this help, and they're seeking that help. But we also are trying to use that platform to have these athletes tell the common everyday person that we want to walk with you. If you're suffering from having these types of characteristics, we want to be there with you, and we'll be there to go through some of these things with you. There are companies that are here, especially here in the San Diego area, that you can seek this treatment today.
Okay. And the treatment, is it therapy? Is it pharmaceuticals? Is it physical? Is it surgical? What does the treatment look like?
What we do is more we take a holistic approach.
Okay.
Where we're trying to keep from dealing with meds.
Okay.
And like the TMS treatment, transcranial magnetic stimulation for the brain, is personalized. So I'm on my 22nd treatment.
Okay.
Actually, I'm not in a fog. I wake up, I think clearly.
So brain fog was an issue for you?
Brain fog was a major issue for me. I couldn't see, anxiety, not being able to sleep at night, just all of the common things that you would think just everybody goes through. But I know that these elements are part of something greater.
Right.
And sometimes you have to realize that if you don't seek the help, what is coming is worse than not knowing.
Right. And getting to the root of the problem, because you could take a sleep aid and you could take anti-anxiety medicine and you could take other things, and that's not going to solve the problem.
You're going to still eventually have the problem.
Yeah.
You know, once you get off the med, because the med makes you sleep through it, and
you get
eventually
addicted
it wears
to meds
off.
and never fix the
and
problem.
then there's an addiction, right?
Yeah.
So getting the EEG for brain health is one of the methods that we have. It's personalized, and a lot of athletes have found that this is helping them tremendously. There are some common people. There's some military people that I've seen come in and out that building, and they're grateful for the fact that this is available to them. As far as the chronic pain relief, there are a lot of individuals, there are a lot of coaches, there are a lot of regular everyday individuals, people in their late 80s that are getting this treatment. They too have found that this has helped them with quality of life, that it's okay now to go take a walk with a spouse, even when you're in your late 80s, or even if you are an individual suffering from pain from playing in the world of sports. And then, of course, you got those athletes who want to retire, but because there's so much pressure from the spouse, the girlfriend, your posse, the individuals that you've grown up with. They don't realize what you're going through mentally. They don't want to see you leave because they're enjoying what you've provided for so long.
Yeah,
for a long period
it's the
of time.
moneymaker.
It's the moneymaker, right? And it's everything that comes with it. It's the livelihood of it. And so that pressure of having to walk away sometimes when you don't want to walk away.
You can become obscure very fast once you
yes,
leave
you
the
can.
game. There's a few that come out that become analysts or reporters or those type of things, but most we forget them very quickly.
Yes, you do. And then the demands of playing at the highest level sometimes, it also demands your attention.
Yeah.
And from that becomes hardship from a family perspective. You're never home, right? And so it creates problems and issues in the household. So the behavior and mental health aspect also helps because you can seek the family treatment together to try and work through these issues as well. So it's more than just the physical aspects of athletes walking away. It's the everyday individual that have problems at the workplace that just mentally can't deal with it. And sometimes it's great to just have an outlet, to have a conversation with someone.
Right. And I know the NFL is a very short career for most people because it's so physically demanding and it's such a high level. And I don't know what the average time in the NFL is for a player. It's probably not very long. Where most people, their working career is 40 years or something like that. In the NFL, if you get a dozen years out of it, you're really, really fortunate. 2.3 years. And so for a lot of people, I know that their plan is, okay, if I can get into the NFL, I can perform at the level. I've got that on the resume. I've got some money, and then I went to college before I got here, so now I'm going to do this. But if the injuries you got prevent you from doing this, because I also trained in college to be a CPA, or I trained to do sales, or whatever it was you were doing, most of them come through the colleges.
That's true.
They're getting educated for something in the process. And when they come out the other end, if they're not able to do that, then that plan falls apart really fast.
It falls apart. And
you're still young.
And in the world of professional athletics, let's face it, that career, you can play 10 years, but that's short.
That's just short for a career. It's long.
Short for a career.
You're a grandfather to the players when you're out there. Yeah,
that's correct.
There's not many George Blandas.
no, or Tom Brady's. Right. Yeah. So that
George Blanda was playing well, almost 50 years old. He was out there on that
50
field.
years of age, right, and still playing. And I find even today when I watch some of the athletes go through what they're going through versus some of the guys that I played with and those that have gone before me. I think that the greatest joy is the camaraderie. Mm-hmm. The hardest part is having to say goodbye.
It's your family.
It's a family, and when that time comes, it's greater than people realize. But what I also want people to understand is that in many cases you don't control that destiny. Mm-hmm. You don't control that destiny. By the grace of God, sometimes you can play until you decide that you want to walk away. But be it injury or be it the fact that it's still a business.
Somebody better came up out of college. You got injured. The team needed to cut to make room under the salary cap, whatever it is.
And that's where the mental part really comes into play because you're not ready, but other decisions have been made and said, we're going to make this move anyway.
Right.
But you're not prepared to deal with it mentally.
Yeah, and then you have to decide what you do. Do I have an alternate career I can move to? Am I going to the Arena League? Am I moving to Europe? What am I doing?
What's my post career, right?
Yeah, do I become a high school coach somewhere? What am I doing? Yeah, and that's one thing when you have a plan. It's another thing when it's been foisted upon you, and you don't really have a say in it, as you said, and you're still pretty young. And your thought was, I'm going to be playing this for a long time, and I haven't got my Super Bowl ring yet, which I think I'm going to get, but then I got cut before I got a chance.
That's right. Yeah. And there's a lot of pressure because, newspapers and the magazines, for many cases, for those athletes who play it at the highest level, every now and then you read an article. What defines his career? Has he won a Super Bowl yet? Yeah. That type of thing can be tremendous. It can bring tremendous pressure on the player.
Right, yeah.
You know, because I think defining who you are as an athlete is not if you won a championship or not. It's your
very few do.
Which very few do, and that's why I make that statement, because I never won a Super Bowl. I never went or won a Super Bowl, but it was San Francisco, and it was by the grace of God that they won the Super Bowl, because I retired in the midst of that Super Bowl year. But for the most part, I played on a football team here in San Diego where we felt we were the best for years. For
and
7
just never
straight
could
years,
get past that hump.
Could never get past that hump for some reason, right? But does it still define the Dan Faucis of the world, the Charlie Joners of the world, the Ed Whites of the world, the Kellen Winslows of the world? It does not define who they were as players or human beings.
Well, we've got to take a break. We'll be right back after this. We're talking to Wes Chandler, and we're going to wrap it up right after this short break. This is Building Solid Foundations with Steve Matley.
FireUp Connect is the most innovative business networking group, supporting and collaborating with a dozen of small businesses that are interested in building and establishing strong business connections, hosting educational live seminars while carrying out business and community-driven projects, as well as marketing programs as a part of its membership program. FireUp Connect also offers virtual assistance with a wide range of services, including inbound customer support, chat support, appointment setting and email management, graphic designing, video editing, web design and development, social media marketing, e-commerce solution, content writing, and much more. For more information, head on over to www.fireupconnect.com. FireUp Connect, helping success stories unfold every day.
Real men of real estate.
Men of Real Estate radio show here on KCAA.
Boats, mortgages can be purchased.
All of us want to live in thriving communities.
Basically, go to the radio station kcaaradio.com.
You can find us on your dial at 102.3 FM, 1050 AM, as well as 106.5 FM.
This is Steve Matley. Join me every Thursday at 3 p.m. right here on KCAA for Building Solid Foundations radio talk show. I spent decades as a professional construction manager, business owner, real estate developer, and a college educator, and I enjoy learning new things from other people. We talk a lot about real estate, business, and finance, but we cover a diverse range of other topics as well. Some of the topics we've discussed in the past few months include real estate investing, leadership, higher education, ADUs, marketing using technology, multifamily rental properties, business strategy, entrepreneurship. You never know who may show up or what they may talk about, so join us right here on KCAA for Building Solid Foundations Radio. Hi, this is Steve Matley. As a construction professional, I know the importance of selecting the right contractor for the job. Power Solar employs only professional installers. Power Solar will provide a knowledgeable consultant to help analyze your current electric bill, identify site placement, and correct solar technology for your home. Contact kcaaproducer@gmail.com for a free financial savings proposal with no obligation, or call 951-551-1350 and ask for Ken. Again, that's kcaaproducer@gmail.com or 951-551-1350 and ask for Ken. Welcome back to Building Solid Foundations Radio. This is your host, Steve Matley. We are talking with Wes Chandler. He is founder and CEO of WCTE, which is helping people with traumatic brain injury and with CTE, which is basically the traumatic injury you get when you play professional football, sports, car accidents where you've knocked your head around too many times. And it does affect the quality of life as we've been going through. Wes, for people out there that they're becoming aware of this, between like the movie that was out and conversations like this and the lawsuits that have happened, people are becoming aware of it. What can people do to be more, get involved, be more supportive? Because they may know people dealing with this that they don't know are dealing with this.
I would be more than happy to address them through our website. They can reach me direct.
Okay, what's the website?
www.wcte.org. WCTEinc.org.
Okay, WCTinc.org to look at WCTE and find out what kind of programs Wes and his company have. Okay, so they can start there and get some information.
They can start there, and we'll be announcing more awareness dinners in the San Diego County area. We had one back January 29th.
Now, are these open to
these
anybody?
Will be open. These will be open dinners for those individuals that need to learn more, would like to learn more about how we are providing aid or assistance for those individuals that may be suffering.
And I think of people saying, well, I don't know any professional athletes, but you may know people that have been in the military and had issues.
Personally.
Maybe they had auto accidents. Maybe they worked a job that caused them to have brain injuries over time. Maybe they're a recreational rugby player or something, and and who knows what that's done. So, or they could be people that have this from the past. A lot of people played football at lower levels and never made the pros, but they may have done damage and not even realized it because it was so long ago. And so for the listeners out there, you may know people that are dealing with this and you don't know that, and maybe they don't even know that yet. Maybe they have unexplained issues and maybe this could be related to it.
Or as we said at the beginning of the first segment, just don't want to reveal that they have an issue.
Yeah, we don't really want to tell people around us that we think we're going crazy.
Correct. Yeah. The comfort zone, right? And the danger is, I don't want to know. No. The worst part is not knowing, because if you do know, at least you have an opportunity or a chance to get some help, which directly relates to quality of life.
Right, and it doesn't mean that you were made defective. What it means is that somewhere along the way there was an injury that caused some issues that need to be fixed.
Correct.
And we tend to stigmatize the mental injuries. The physical injuries we all understand. You sprain your ankle, you go get treated. In fact, there's a lot of sympathy. You walk around in a moon boot and you go, oh,
Yes.
what happened? We want the story.
Wow, there, right?
Thing,
yes, the story gets bigger each time you tell it.
That's right. That's right. But for the mental issues, we want to cover it up, hide it. It makes us uncomfortable. Whether it's us or someone that's talking to us about it, it's got a lot of stigma to it, and really for no real reason, because it is in fact a result of a physical injury.
It is. It's a direct result. But just knowing that if you have someone that you can talk to and confide in, to know that they're there with you to go through this is probably the greatest thing that can ever happen to you, versus not knowing and later on it's too far gone. That is the worst thing.
Right. And it's something to look into, because there may be things that we think are related to just, I'm getting older. That's why I'm getting brain fog, because I've had too many birthdays and now I'm just that happens. Maybe not necessarily. That may not be true. And I think I've learned, even when we talked to some other guests that were dealing with more nutritional and quality of life stuff, if you're dealing with things like brain fog, there's probably something wrong. It's
there
not
is
just
something
age.
wrong. It's not brain aging.
Yeah.
There is something wrong. There's something wrong with the neurons. Either they're too far to the right, where it's just going too fast, or too slow, which means they're too far to the left.
Right.
When the neurons are like that, the individual that started the PRTMS company, his son was autistic, and that's the reason why he started.
Okay.
And the son was there, his eyes were open, but the brain was not just functioning at a rate in which you could understand, or he had a movement necessary to function. So I would encourage anyone that has been out here listening today and think that it may be them or a loved one or someone that they know, to get in touch with us, and we'd be gladly available to assist.
Okay. And just so the listeners know, Wes is going to be coming back for our next show, and we're really talking with him and one of the partners they work with on specific things related to a part of what they do with behavioral health. And so I encourage you to tune in for that show and get the other half of the story on this, another part of it. There's a lot of aspects to it. So if you check the WTCE website, WCTEinc.org, it's a good starting point to kind of figure things out, look at what what CTE is, what traumatic brain injury is, what are the symptoms, and then what are different ways to start approaching how to deal with it and how to heal with it for yourself or for someone that you know. Again, this is something we don't like to talk about. I think it's tragic that it's happened to so many people. On the other hand, I think it's good that it's getting notoriety because it's happening to people that are in an area of our culture that we revere. Our athletes, our professional athletes, that's our modern day gladiators, that's our heroes, and that it's happening to so many of them that are household names. I think, again, it's tragic that it's happening to them. I wish we didn't, but on the other hand, I think there's a benefit coming out of that tragedy.
And in the immediate future, to your point, Steve, we will have some of those individuals coming on at various times throughout the year to talk about their experience of having had treatments. Great. And what it has done and how it has changed their lives.
We're looking forward to that. We got to wrap the show up. Thank you, Wes, for being on the show. I look forward to our next conversation. For listeners out there, again, if you know anybody or if you're curious about this, go check out WCTEinc.org. It's a good place to get started. You can watch the movie Concussion. That's a good, obviously it's dramatized, but it's a lot of good truth behind it. And get yourself informed. Find out what's going on out there. And also, as football fans, if you're like me as a football fan, realize our thirst for this contributes to it. So I think we need to be aware and be part of the solution as well. This is Building Solid Foundations Radio. Again, we are on KCAA AM 1050. We are also on Roku, Fire TV, Android, and on your favorite podcast platform. We'll see you next week. And until then, go do something different. This is Steve Matley. We'll see you next week.
Miss your favorite show? Download the podcast at kcaaradio.com.